Hello, this is Josh Patel back again with another biology video. Today I am going to be teaching you chapter 27, which is animal behavior, and so we'll start at 27.1, which is adaptive value of behavior. Our key concept is behavior lets organisms respond rapidly and adaptively to their environment. And so this is not a very specific chapter, it's very easy to understand. And you probably know all this, or you didn't know knew it, but it's very easy to understand. You're like, that makes sense. Behavioral responses to stimuli may be adaptive. Detecting and responding to stimuli is key to an individual's survival. So behavior is basically what an organism does, and adaptive is that it acquired over time. So they got these behaviors through a long process. So internal stimuli tells an animal what is occurring in its own body. And so this would be hunger, thirst, pain. So these are things you feel that tell you what you need or what your body is going through. External stimuli gives an animal information about its surroundings, so sound, sight, and change in day length or temperature, and like touch, basically your senses. Specialized cells that are sensitive to stimuli detect sensory information. Information is transferred to the nervous system. Nervous system may activate other systems in response. So when you touch something, it sends signals to your nerves, and the nerve sends a signal to your brain that tells you you're touching something. And it depends, whatever you're touching, it might interact with other responses, other systems. Animal behavior helps to maintain homeostasis. So kinesis and taxis are two types of movement-related behaviors. And this is one of the little specific things in the chapter that you don't need to know about. So kinesis is an increase in random movement speed, and taxis movement is in a particular direction, so straight. Internal and external stimulus usually interact to trigger specific behaviors. Most behaviors are a response to both internal and external stimuli, so this could be like instincts. External stimuli may trigger internal stimuli. And green alone reproductive behavior is triggered by internal and external stimuli. So green animal is this animal here. It's kind of like a lizard. And basically external and internal stimuli can interfere with its certain behaviors. So like an external stimuli could be like maybe the season, so hibernation could be based off external stimuli. So some behaviors occur in cycles. A circadian rhythm is the daily cycle of activity. Occurs every over a 24-hour period. So circadian rhythm is like your biological clock is what they call it. And it basically tells you when to wake up, when to sleep, and basically it's a cycle of your life. And if you have gone to a plane and went to a way different time zone, you might experience jet lag, which is interfering with your circadian rhythm, and so you feel sleepy and tired because back in where you came from, it would be nighttime. So your circadian rhythm thinks that you need to go to sleep now, but it's actually daytime outside. So behaviors may occur daily, monthly, seasonally, or annually. During hibernation, an animal enters a seasonal dormant state. So during migration, animals move seasonally from one portion of their range to another. So yeah, mostly birds. They migrate south during the winter because it's colder or it's warmer in the southern weather. So 27.2 Instinct and Learning. Key concept is both genes and environmental effects in animals' behavior. So innate behaviors are triggered by specific internal and external stimuli. An instinct is a complex inborn behavior. Instinctive behaviors share several characteristics. So an instinct is kind of in your genes. It's something you already know that you didn't learn. So it's innate or performed correctly the first time. It's relatively inflexible, so you can't really change an instinct that well. So when sea turtles are born, they're always going to swim towards the water, towards the moonlight, so they find where they're going. Many innate behaviors are triggered by a releaser. Releaser is a simple signal, touch, sight, or sound, and scent. So hearing gulls, chickens, and red dot releasers, environmental factors can affect innate behaviors as well. Many behaviors have both innate and learned components. Learning takes many forms, so it could be habituation occurs when an animal learns to ignore a repeated stimulus. It could be imprinting, which is a rapid and irreversible learning process. So imprinting is basically a time where a specific animal learns a lot very fast. And this happens in birds a lot. So when they're first born, it's like their imprinting stage and they learn who their mother is. And it's also called a critical period. And there's the Conrad Lorenz and gray lag genes, which isn't important. So here they're trying to make this bird probably think that this puppet is its mate or friend or mom or relative. So in imitation, animals learn by observing the behavior of others. Young male songbirds learn songs by listening to adult males. Snow monkeys and potato washing behaviors. So monkeys basically learn from each other. Learning is adaptive. Animals that can learn can better adapt to new situations. In associative learning, a specific action is associated with its consequences. Conditioning is one type of associative learning. So these types of learning, if you took psychology, you'll probably know about these already. So this is kind of getting into the psychological aspect of biology. There are two types of conditioning. So there's classical conditioning, and this is previously neutral stimulus associated with behavior triggered by different stimuluses. And in biology, we don't need to know about these types of learning, but if you take AP Psych or regular Psych, you're probably going to need to know about this. So classical conditioning is associated with Ivan Pavlov and his Salvatoring dogs. So he basically had these dogs and um, made them produce saliva when they hear the sound of a bell because he associated it with food or basically dinner time. So there are two types of conditioning. Operant conditioning, which is the other type. So behavior increases or decreases by positive or negative reinforcement. So this is basically giving you a treat or punishing you for doing something bad. So this is usually referred with B.F. Skinner. So 27.4, we skipped 27.3 because it wasn't that important, and also because I couldn't find the video, or the PowerPoint. Social behavior. Our key concept is social behaviors enhance the benefits of living in a group. Living in a group also has benefits and costs. So as you know, some animals like living in big groups and some live alone or with just a mate maybe. So social behavior evolves when benefits of groups living outweigh its costs. So as we know, penguins live in groups. They basically huddle together for warmth in the very harsh winters. Benefits improved, so foraging, reproductive assistance, reduced chance of predation, because if there's more of them, you alone singly are probably not going to die because there are many others for the predator to feast on, and you could probably work together as a group to defend off of it. So costs are increased visibility, competition, decrease, contraction. So group living requires learning, social structure, and membership. Social behaviors are interactions between members of the same or different species. Animals use communication to keep in contact. So we use visual, sound, touch, and chemical. So courtship displays are used to evaluate the fitness of a potential male. So courtship is basically relating to marriage or mating. So basically courtship displays are that the animals display off their best qualities to find a mate. So there's these birds that do it a lot. And these birds usually have a bunch of colorful feathers and they try to show off their feathers. So defensive behaviors are used to protect the individual and or the group. Some behaviors benefit other group members at cost. Some behaviors benefit other group members at a cost to the individual performing them. There are many types of helpful social behaviors. So cooperation, and we have reciprocity, altruism, and we don't need to know any of these. This is very specific. So in altruism, an individual reduces its own fitness to help other members of its social group. So inclusive fitness, kin selection. So we can skip this slide. 27.5 is animal cognition. So some animals other than humans exhibit behavior requiring complex cognitive abilities, so basically thought. And it's usually probably other primates like monkeys. Animals' intelligence is difficult to define. Cognition is the mental process of knowing through perception or reasoning. Perception or reasoning, so awareness basically, and the ability to judge things, the ability to solve complex problems. So there's certain animals that scientists have basically tested and found out that they have better cognitive abilities than others. Other factors affecting animals' behavior may seem like cognition. Some animals can solve problems. High insight is the ability to solve a problem mentally without re- repeated trial and error. So observed in primates, dolphins, and corvids. So chimpanzees retrieve hanging bananas. Tools used to help an animal accomplish a task. Some dolphins use sponges to protect and hunt. And crows and chimpanzees make probing sticks. So we have a capuchin monkey uses rocks to crack nuts. So basically we're finding animals that use nature and find tools in nature to help them survive. So cognitive abilities may provide an adaptive advantage for living in social groups. Intelligence in animals seems to be correlated with two characteristics. So we have relatively large brains for the body size, and they live in complex social groups. So cultural behavior spread through a population by learning, not by selection. Taught to one generation by another. So aided by living in close proximity. So living together and having other generations to teach you helps cognitive abilities because you can learn from other people in your group. So that's the end of chapter 27, which was animal behaviors. This was very not non-specific and very easy to understand. And make sure you study this and make sure you watch the next video on chapter 28.